So for step 39, here is one piece of the netting, and then these are the two number plates. Now, I've already put marks for the holes where they have to be drilled, and then this has to be cut out because that's actually going over where the motor is. And they give you this template sheet that you can use for the cutting. So for example, I've already cut out one side, and if I put it on there, it's a perfect match to their diagram. And then the two plates, I've done, you can see there's the one, and then I've got that one which I've drawn out, and they've got to be drilled. So that'll be interesting. Now the drilling, I'm not too worried about. The cutting, I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm maybe a little surprised that this wasn't done beforehand, because so far the kit's been pretty much something you can handle completely without having any real, cutting skills. Because if you're a type of person that doesn't really know what they're doing, this actually could become very problematic in terms of getting a nice perfect circle, but we'll see. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to drill those out and get them ready, and I'll cut the other one as well so that we've got both the nets ready. So for the netting, the one thing I am doing is matching it. Actually, you can see that it's actually been cut. I might go down one. See how the edging is ripped at the bottom, and it's kind of ripped on the bottom of both? I think I'm going to trim one of them so that we've got a nice complete edge. So for example, we're going to cut that bottom off. There. So now we've got a nice finished bottom netting, and then when I put that there, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this one here. So if I look at where that's got to go, we're going to cut that off, and I'll go all the way across. So if you put that on there, you can see that that is a perfect fit, more or less, all the way across. So now it's just a matter of making the cut here all the way. And in fact, I think we've got one more cut to do on this side, so I'm going to take that other one off. There we go. And then put it down. And we're going to need to do that angled cut right there, which actually is going to start right there. Okay, so these now are cut. So we've got our two side nets. They are finished. I'll put them aside. So now let's move on to these number plates. And as I showed you earlier, I've used the template so that we've got the markings in, in the exact place they need to be. Now, the question might be, well, what's the easiest way to do these holes? Well, I'm going to show you. I got this body reamer, and it is the coolest tool ever, because what you're going to want to end up doing is put the tip, and this is super sharp, so I mean you don't want to drop this or anything. You want to put the tip into the center of the hole, and then you're just going to spin. And as you can see the numbers on there, the numbers on this reamer show you the size hole. So this goes all the way from 2 all the way to 13, and the line you want to use is the top one, because as you're spinning, you'll know that once you reach that line, the number below corresponds with that numbering system. So I'm going to show you how to use this on this plastic piece for the Blockhead Motors Wild One. These are for the number plates, and we're going to end up putting the pin, the point, in the center of the hole that I've made, and then we're just going to spin. So I'll show you how to do that right now. So first off, we need to put this into the center of those holes. So if you think where my finger is, I'm going to pick a point. Let's go right there. So I've put a temporary hole in there. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it. Make sure this doesn't go through your finger. I'm going to hold it. Oh, wait a second. Make sure that's right. I'm going to hold it so my fingers are on either side, and I'm going to just spin, and you can spin it in any direction, left or right, but it will start to dig it out, because those are blades on every side of that reamer. So we're just going to spin, and now I can see and I can feel it going up through the other side, as you can see there on the back side there. So we're just going to continue to spin, and you can check periodically just to make sure that it's okay. It is so far, so we'll put that back in and we'll spin, and you can feel it, and you can see it's kind of coming apart just like a drill would, but this is easier than using a drill. And I can see that it's not too bad. You can see the markings, see where the 3 is. So we're just going to keep spinning, and you can see the 3 again, but of course it's getting clogged up, so let's just clear that out. Put that back in. You can see where the 3 marking is. It's at the 2, so we're going to keep spinning, and it works very, very well. So let's make sure that that's, yeah, we can go a little farther. Well, we're pretty much there. See where the 3 is? And that top line is where the 3 would be. So you can see the 2 is above it and the 3 below. So if I put that back on, we are pretty much there. So I'm just going to do a light twist this time. But you see on the back side, all that stuff was coming off. Well, I'm just going to put this back in the other way, but do it very lightly. And we're going to shave off all that stuff to clean it up. And voila, we now have a perfect 3mm hole, which is great, and that's way easier than drilling it. So I would highly recommend for any of your the body post holes or anything that have to be made is to get a body reamer, because it makes it so much easier than drilling. And you have full control of the speed, and just make sure you're checking it periodically to make sure for size. But that is how you use a body reamer. So I will continue with my Blockhead Motors number plate build. I'll do the other one, and we'll move on for that step. But if you're looking at this just as a body reamer, that is a demo of how you use the body reamer. Okay, so using the templates, all of the cutting is done. So now what we'll move on to is attaching the bracket and the screw, and of course we've got this little spacer, which you can see here. We've got the screw, the spacer, and the metal bracket. So let's attach that to the number plate. So here's something to be aware of. You can see that we need to put the screw and the bracket through one of the holes, but it can't be just any of the holes. Because if you can see this, on our template, it showed the 2 holes. But if you reverse this and make it look put it the other way, they don't match. So you need to make sure that when you've done this with the template and the hole, you know that that's the one that we need to be putting the bracket through. So just recognize that is something you're going to have to watch out for when you're putting that bracket on. Okay, so let's put this together. We know that first off, we're going to have to now pull off the plastic, because that's not to go there. But now that we know that this is the hole that we're going to need to be using, we're going to stick that screw through there, turn it around, because then it's looking like the picture, and we're going to put that on and spin. Because you don't need a bolt or anything for this. Now, I'm going to have to loosen that off, because we're going to need to get it to be the shape that we need it to be, or I should say the position, because you can see that when this is on the car, I just need to make sure that we're undo and then twist and tighten. Well, let's just hold it and tighten more or less, so that if you think of on the car itself, this one is going to end up screwing there, and then this one fits over the plate. So again, let's undo this a bit more. Make sure that that actually fits on the plate, as you can see. And then I'm going to screw it down in that position. And I'll be able to make final adjustments on that next step. But overall, there is our plate. It's ready to go. And we have the other one, which is ready to go. We're just going to need to peel off the plastic on both sides. There we go. So they're ready to go. So technically, we can now move on to step 40, which is attaching the netting with the nylon bands, and then we also have the aerial tube that we're going to need to attach as well.